All right, the Chicago Bulls release another player. Are we surprised? Nah. But what does it do for the Chicago Bulls going forward? Roster spots need to be filled. Who they have in mind? Is Ayo going to be in the mix to come back? But we're going to talk about it.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, so the Chicago Bulls have released Marko Simonovic, if I pronounce his name right. I ain't too surprised about the situation. I mean, I really like Marko, though, just like I liked Lauren Marketing when he was there. But it seems like the Bulls always have other plans when they draft these guys or keep them on the roster too long and not move them off and not give them an opportunity. And knowing how Billy Donovan operate, it was safe to say that Marko, to me, I feel like Marko didn't get a fair shake of the situation. Now, could he work hard? Yeah, I think he could. Now, he did have some great games down in the G League, which kind of like, made me think that, okay, well, maybe he could impact the game a little bit, especially with injuries that the Bulls had the last few years. With Lonzo, we not having three-point spacing on the floor and hoping that we could have added him in that mix. And then when he got in the game, it was we blowing some teams out, or we having close games where he doesn't get into the game, or where we blow, like I said, we blowing teams out. And Marko just never could find his groove, his niche. And I just think that whatever the high hopes that AK did have for him just never panned out the way it's supposed to be. Now, Marko was drafted 44 overall in the 2020 NBA draft. He came overseas from the league in 21, and he signed a 3-year deal worth $4.3 million contract with a player option. So we already know if the Bulls didn't release him by midnight tonight, that they would have to play him, and then he would have been stuck on a roster. And most likely he wouldn't even been able to play because they would have recalled him down to the G League, and then we had to bring somebody up to fill that spot. And then with Andre Drummond opting back in, that's another center position. Because the same thing like how we had Tony Bradley, I think. He was on the roster. And we never hardly used him. He came in the game here and there, but it's just what it was. But like I said, with Drummond opting back in and Vooch re-signing, so where is the fit going to be? Because if you look at it, when we drafted Ayo got more playing time than him. Even Dalen Terry last year got more playing time with him. Even with some of the guys we got from the G League got more playing time than him. So I just don't think that, to me personally, I think Billy Donovan just couldn't find a spot for him or utilize him the way he would hope that he did. And I think if we had more three-point shooters and more spacing on the floor, I think it would have worked out for him. I still say this to this day. The Lonzo Ball injury hurt us really, really bad. I go back and look at some of Lonzo Ball's greatest moments with the Chicago Bulls when he first came over. The Bulls had a lot of spacing. They had spacing. They just didn't have the three-point shooters. And I think Marko could have fit in at that time if Lonzo wasn't injured. Now, I could be wrong, but hey, it's what it is. But during his time with the Bulls, he just failed to make a significant impact. He couldn't really grasp or grab a hold. Like I said, when he's down in the G League, he's tearing it up. He's tearing it up, going off. And that what makes me think and say, oh, dang, this guy could really, really, help the Chicago Bulls. But it didn't pan out that way. Now, he's 6'11", and only played in 16 games in a two-year span. Only 3.4 minutes in the contest, averaging only 1.4 points and 0.8 rebounds. That is not enough time to be on the floor. That is not enough to make a significant impact or whatever the case may be. He was only shooting 27.3% from the field, 22.2% from three-point line. That's bad. That's really bad. Now, his numbers in the G League was way better than that. I mean, he was averaging 15.9, 10 rebounds, shooting 52% from the overall and almost 40% from the three-point line. I just wonder why Billy Donovan just couldn't find a way to utilize that guy, utilize him. I mean, if you think about it, you could have used his help. I mean, we had, even with Javonte Green being injured, and I don't think Javonte Green or Derrick Jones Jr. was a better three-point shooter than him. I just think the dude just didn't get an opportunity. Billy Donovan went into another direction, and it's what it is. Now, all of this report came out from Shams, from the Athletic. So the news broke earlier, probably not too long ago, about 30 minutes ago. But I mean, if you look at him, he's going to probably go down as one of the worst, disappointing picks the Bulls have. And I think if you're going to bring a guy over, to me, being honest, I would love to see Marko go to San Antonio Spurs. I think he would get a great opportunity with Popovich, especially with them drafting Victor over there. That's another guy that could develop. He could be a shooter. He could be a grass. And I hate to say it, I think if he goes into the right situation, I think Marko is going to blossom. And it's going to be a bad reflection on Billy Donovan if this guy goes to another team and find his nuts. You think about it. When Lauri Markkanen left the Bulls, he was, I think when he's with Utah, he's been going off. He's been going off. And I just feel like Marko's going to be that other player that the Bulls didn't really took time with and bypassed him for other guys. And he's going to go to a team. I mean, he could go to Denver. He could go to Utah. He could go, heck, he could go to a system like trying to think, with Golden State, just to be a spot-up shooter. I think but to me, if he was to go somewhere like Dallas or San Antonio and he develops the way that some of us thought he could, you won't have to look at Billy Donovan and to say, well, hey, this guy is over here killing it, and everybody's going to be like, well, hey, what's wrong with Billy Donovan that he can't develop players? And you've seen it now. They brought in a shooting coach to the team to help out. So maybe it can help out Ayo if Ayo resigns back with us or whatever the case might be, or whoever they bring in. But we have to develop players. We can't draft them and then get rid of them just because. The fact of the matter is, I think the young man has a lot of promise. I think the young man is going to find his groove. I'm telling you, you're going to see teams like a Denver Nuggets. Don't be surprised. Teams like Denver Nuggets, Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs, or the Utah Jazz, or somebody grab this guy and develop him, and he's going to be lights out. He's young. I think he's 23 right now. He's young. He's going to find his groove. He's going to find his groove. Now, it might not look bad on him and to be honest, it just seems like everybody that we had, from Wendell Carter, Lauri Markkanen, we get rid of them and they go somewhere else and they just look like all-stars. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. To me, I feel like coaching is one of the biggest issues with the Bulls. I think they need a real coach. I'm not so sold on Billy Donovan. I just don't I mean, what we have done in free agency, but it's what it is. I'm not gonna get too much off track on that because I can spend a lot of time on it. But you know, my dude Marko, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I really liked him. I wanted him to do well. I always wanted him to get playing time to see what he could do on the floor. That's what I really wanted to see, what he could do. But nevertheless, man, how y'all feel about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button anytime I drop a hardcore video. This is your boy LiveWire Sports, and I'm out, man. Peace.